Today we are going to make a grapevine wreath with a half decorated style. So you're going to have your greenery, whatever kind you want. You're going to have your wood flowers. You're going to have fun fillers or anything else you want. Plus you're going to want to have wire cutters. I've got my big aviation snips, but you can use little ones. Hot glue, glue gun as well. And then the other thing you're going to want to have is some wires to wire the flowers and possibly some scissors as well. And you're going to want to have some wire, paddle wire as well. And so you might also want some actual stemmed wires too, which I'll open up so we can get to. A lot of supplies, but making a wreath actually isn't as hard as you think it is. So I'm going to show you guys today. So the wire is the last thing. So the first thing you're going to want to do is think about your greenery. And I like to cut my greenery apart into pieces just because I don't necessarily want some big giant piece. So this is where my big wire cutters are going to come into handy. And after you cut your greenery, then you're going to start to place it in and around. So you're going to want to find the part of the wreath that you want showing and the part that you want to hide. And then you're going to start to work your greenery in between the grapevines. Of course, pulling off any tags because no one wants to see those. So I'm going to kind of sneak a piece of greenery in. Pull off this little piece. And then I want to wire that piece of greenery in. And so what's really important is that I don't wire it just on the end. I've got to wire it up between the greens so that it won't slip. So I'm going to slide, I'll show you on the video. I'm going to slide it under the grapevine, under my piece as well. I'm going to come out on the other side there. And then I'm going to pull nice and tight with my piece of wire. And it doesn't need to be a big piece of wire. Just a little one will do. Give it a good little twist. And if you didn't make sure that you went under some branches, then you'll want to make sure that you do that just so it holds in place. And then we are going to give it a good tug and a twist nice and tight. And then you can cut the excess wire off or you can push it underneath. Whatever's easier for you. And then I'm definitely going to want to add some glue to that as well. So I'm going to get right in there and let that glue kind of drip down at the base. So we've got the start of our wreath. And then we're going to want to come in with some more pieces. I'm going to save these little bits for gluing later. I'm going to get another nice bigger piece off of here as well. Looks good. Use kind of the similar one off this. This is some really tough greenery. For whatever reason, the gauge on this wire is super, super tough. Okay. And again, pull off that tag. And we're going to come in at the opposite angle to create that, right here, that effect. I want to save room for my flowers. So again, I'm sneaking it in, and then I want to wire it. So I'm going to get, that piece is too small. Get a little piece of the wire. And again, I'm going to go underneath. Now sometimes you have enough grapevine, you really don't need to wire much at all. Just make sure you wire where there's a branch so you can hook it and it's not going to go anywhere. So a branch of your greenery. Make sure you get underneath one of those branches. If you want to double it and go around a second time or whatever, that's fine too. And I'm not too concerned with hiding it because you're going to put a lot of other stuff in here, so you're not really going to see it much anyway. So again, you can cut off the ends, or you can just shove them in, whatever's easier for you. And so we've got two pieces right there. Okay, move our little wires out of the way. So I like the directions it's headed. We can kind of decide from there what else we want to add. Or if we want to twist it a little bit more so that maybe it doesn't shoot off so far. So I can sort of bend that greenery some. And I might wire just one more piece right here to keep this base greenery down. So I'm going to come up a little higher and wire this piece right here. Nice tight pull. Twist, 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 twist. And stuff those pieces down and hide them. Okay, so we're definitely going to want to add some more greenery over here on the side a little bit. So I had saved some of these other little pieces. And I'm going to just pull, some of these off to use them by themselves, the shorter ones. And I'm going to sneak in over here on the sides, and I'm going to add some to over here. So I'm going to kind of play around with how I want it to look, just filling in. And so I'm going to add also a little bit of glue to this piece because I haven't done that yet, just to make sure it holds. A little bit up where I glued it as well. Never hurts to add that extra bit in. So this, I'm not even going to wire this. I'm really going to sneak these in wherever I want them and then just glue, because you don't necessarily need a wire on a little piece like this. So it's about finding that right little spot. Can you sneak it under a piece of grapevine? It probably doesn't even need glue, but I'm going to add a little bit anyway. And I'm going to keep sneaking these little pieces in, just to make sure that we're nice and full with that greenery. I'm going to add a couple pieces before I really glue. I don't want to go too crazy, but I want to make sure I really do have enough on the sides, just like a couple little ones peeking out at a little bit of an angle. And then we're going to glue those in and make sure we got enough glue. Everything's nice and happy where it is. It's not going to move. So we've got this shape now. If you can see it here, right? We've still got some gaps, but I'm going to come in later. So if you're going all the way around your wreath, you're going to keep going with some more greenery, but this is a good bit for now. So the next thing I want to do is start adding my flowers. So I've got quite a selection of really pretty wood flowers in different sizes that we want to add and play around with. So I want to find like what's going to be that focal flower that's going to stand out. And for me, I think it's this red one right here. And I definitely know that I'm going to want this to be right here in the center. So I'm going to want to cut the bottom of this a little flatter. Get some scissors, just so it's not too sticking up there. And I'm going to want to come in right in the center. So I want to do a little piece of wire for this. So I'm going to take a piece of wire. It doesn't need to be more than a couple inches. And I'm going to put some glue right in the bottom of the flower. I'm going to sneak my wire in. I'm going to hold nice and low, push and twist. Give it a second to cool. And then I'm going to find a spot. So you can do this by bending this and sliding in at an angle. You can go straight down and then bend it through, which I think is what I'm going to do on this one. So straight down, and I'm going to bend my wire up and around, kind of sneak it back in and hug it tight. I'm going to go in and do a little bit of glue right there. I'm going to do a little bit of glue under the flower as well, just to hug it tight and hold it in place. To be honest, that's already really pretty and it could stay like that, but we want to add some more as well. So we want to kind of just layer in with the other colors. So we've got some really pretty pink flowers in here. That would be gorgeous. So I'm going to start to place and build from my big flower and just see what design I like. So I'm starting to place. Nothing is permanent. I'm not keeping anything in any specific spot. I just want to see what I think is going to work on the wreath. And I can always pull off a piece of greenery if I need to, or move something if I need a little more room. So I want to make sure that I get a little bit of all the colors in the wreath. So I want to come in definitely with some purple. 2. I'm starting to feel like maybe there's a little too much here. So I'm going to kind of manipulate a little. I think I'm going to pull this piece off right there. And we're going to put it back on later, just so I can fit my next flowers in. What I don't want to do is go perfect in a line. I want to kind of angle them around so I get a definite design thing happening. I think what I want to do is bring in another pink maybe. Maybe I'll mark another one down here. How that could work. Sneak that in. A little green. I think I'm liking where we're going here. It's a delicate balance, right? I don't want to use too many either. So you just want to kind of play around with the different options that you might have, where you might want to put a flower. I'm thinking of sneaking a purple one right in under there. Then I can bring this pink one in. And just figure out every spot that I really want to put my flowers in. All right, so I like the top part for sure, so we're going to do that one next. So again, we're going to take a little piece of wire. It doesn't need to be too long, a couple inches, and I'm going to go right in with this green one here. So it is going to be straight down, a little glue. So I like to sometimes just wire all my flowers first, so I might do that with you guys here. Ooh, little hot glue burn. Just a little wire here. So in general, you want to use 18 gauge wire, but I'm actually using some 22 gauge wire because it's so bendy, which is nice. It doesn't necessarily matter. The paddle wire is a much higher gauge, so that's even more bendable. But really here, your secret's going to be the hot glue. All right, so let's try to sneak in our first flower. So we're going to come in, and I'm going to go straight down through some grapevines, nestle this flower in wherever I want it. And again, I'm going to bend my wire, come up and around, and sneak some hot glue underneath, and sneak some hot glue on the back side. And I'm going to even bend this wire a little bit more down in, just so it's not sticking up weird. I'm just gluing, gluing, gluing. Make sure it's pushed down really good. In general, no one's going to look at the back, so don't fret it too much. And then we're going to come in on the side here with our pink flower. So you really got to thread it through. The bigger your grapevine wreath is, sometimes the easier that is. All right, since that's the spot I want, I'm going to come in before I tighten it. I'm going to put some glue on the bottom of the flower so that you know it's going to hold when I shove that in there. Squeeze it nice and tight. Gently come on the back here, and I am going to cut it a little shorter, and I'm going to feed that wire back around or through the grapevine however I want to. Put a little glue just to make sure it's going to hold. Spread it out. And then we've got that nice little cluster happening there. So now we just need to figure out where else do we want to add in. So I've still got some purples. Thinking potentially about building up here. I'm going to pull off a little piece so I can sneak my purple flower in. Like that. Maybe this. Oh, maybe this one. I can't quite decide which one I like better. I think we're going to go in with this one. Just this one, I think. All right, so we're going to come in with our purple dahlia here. And again, do a little bit of glue on the back. And I'm going to grab another little piece of the wire. I have one left over somewhere here. Give a little twist and push. And so I've still got some other stem flowers that I'm going to use. I just want to think about kind of evenly creating this arrangement. I think it's important to sort of just like play around with it a little bit. Don't feel like it has to be any certain way. Pull it down. So once I got the spot, I'm going to add some glue on the bottom. Push it and pull it down in. Hold it in place while that glue dries. Pull that wire up, twist it in, whatever you're going to do. And then add that glue on the back as well. Just to make sure it holds everything nice and tight. And then I can go back in and add this piece of greenery in if I feel like it's missing from wherever I was. And I kind of do feel like it's missing somewhere. So we'll probably add it back in there. I've still got to add my little burgundy baby in here. So I'm thinking this is the spot right here on the side. And what I'm just doing is kind of looking for gaps or little places that just need something. And you got to try to squeeze it through our grapevine. There it is. If you look underneath, you can find out where it is, and then you can sort of pull it down. Just be careful if you've glued already something else that it's not necessarily. There we go. I'm going to burn you because you don't want to get burnt on the hot glue. So it goes up through. I want to push that wire up and around. And I want to add some glue underneath. And a little glue on the wire as well. And let that harden. And then always take a step back, kind of look at it, see like, do I like where it's headed? Do I want to add some more to it? And so here's where we might sneak back in. And we might add some more flowers in. So I'm going to come on the opposite side with this pink. Get a little more wire here. A little bit of a longer piece just so I can get all the way through. And I'm going to sneak this one like straight through because I kind of want it to go up on the sides. I got to get the right spot. Hopefully I haven't put too much glue so that it won't sneak through. Once you find where it's going, spot. Right, so once we've got our spot, then we kind of make sure we get the right angle, sneak it in. And I'm going to go around with my wire, thread it through. And then add my glue. Everybody's favorite. There we go. So wreath making is kind of messy. You're going to get little bits of grapevine everywhere for the most part. All right, so now I want to come back in and add just a little bit more with the flowers down here. So we've got to figure out where we're going to add. This one, our purple, our green, and maybe one more crimson down there, or here. Okay, so I've got my final placement. And another technique you can use is actually just skip the wiring altogether and just glue it right down to your greenery. And I could probably do that with this little one here because it's just so small. So feel free to try that if you want to. But I'm going to sneak this little guy in over on the side to me, it's kind of like a puzzle. Like you're just trying to figure out like where is the place you want it. So I'm really focused on this one being like a center clump of flowers. But another way to do this is to just more evenly come around with the flowers. That is in there pretty good. So since that is going to slide in so easy, I'm going to put some on the bottom. I'll put some on my wire. And then I'm going to slide it right back. Hold it in place for a second. My wire went through because I was a little too quick. So if that's the case, just make sure you check that out. And so I had this piece that I took away earlier that I'm definitely going to add back in once I figure where this is going. So I think we're going to do the purple one here. So I want to add this greenery in, I think, first. I'm going to slide it right underneath here. Or maybe there. I think we're going to go in over here. So I'm going to add some to the bottom, to the top, add more in afterwards, but slide it in to begin. So it's going to get a lot more on there anyway. I know I'm going to want to come in and add some more greenery all around once I've got this in. I need to add some more. I'll definitely be adding lots of fillers, so that's coming too. All right, so let's get the purple flower in, a little bit of glue. I'm going to wire the red one at the same time. Just firmly twist and push. Cut the wires. Let's find our spots. So definitely want to come in a little bit of an angle. And again, just going to bend that wire around. And if I like where we are, I'm going to glue. Get in there. Go. And then I'm going to sneak in with this last little red one. So I was trying to find that right spot for this little guy. Starting to feel like this one little tiny piece of greenery is in my way. Push it aside so I can get a good spot for this flower. In the worst case scenario, I can actually just pull a piece of greenery off too if I wanted to. All right, so I think we got something I like there. Still don't like what's happening with that. There we go. Now I like it. Okay, so like just a little bit of extra movement. Again, tuck the wire in to your grapevine. Come back. Add some glue wherever things are touching. Add some to your wire. So I've got the basics of my wreath here, right? But I need to go back in and definitely add some more greenery. So I've got a couple different kinds. Got the fun stuff with the berries here. I'm feeling like where is my wreath bare? I just know I need some more greenery over here on the side. You can just see it. Just looks nice. That probably doesn't need any glue, but I'll just always add just a little bit just to be sure. And then we don't have any berries over here, so I think I also want to add these berries. I like the contrast of the berries because they are brighter than any other red we have in here. And we've still got some more of this boxwood too, little boxwood pieces. So I want to see like where else would these be super cute, and I think if we sneak some under there potentially, up here. I don't even want the whole thing. I might just want a smaller piece. I'm just going to break it apart and then come in right in there. Yep. Sometimes that's my secret. It's like I just break the greenery apart You can use scissors, you can use wire cutters or whatever you want. But I just honestly pull it apart with my hands, muscle it, and you're kind of good to go. And let's see if I want to add any more. I think if anything, not the boxwood, you might add more. A little bit of pine right down there. So I'll pull another piece off and come in just with a little bit more pine down here. And I might need a little bit more pine up there too. We'll see. It's just kind of, yeah, just want to sneak it in. Or it might just be that I want to angle this a little differently too. Let's see. Kind of find the right spot. There. I'm gonna add my glue. You can wire this if you want to be honest. Absolutely, but you don't need to. Usually enough glue is good on that. So what I'm seeing is like looking for the evenness of it, right? I think we've got pretty even. I want to add a little bit more coming out on the sides. It might be the boxwood, it might be something else, especially behind this flower over here. So I want to add this piece in right over here. So I'm going to just sort of sneak it in wherever I think I like it. Add a little glue to it. I hope it stays there. It's not a good, the 12-inch grapevines aren't as good as the 18-inch. So if you've got an 18-inch grapevine wreath, you're going to have so many more nooks and crannies to just like play around with there. If you glue something and you're hoping it's going to stay, just make sure you hold on to it for a second. That's really in there good. All right, so now we're going to come in with some fillers. So this is fun. So we had a little bit of a request for some sparkly fillers. So we're going to use some of this really pretty leafy stuff that I've had. I've been hanging on to this for like a year. I just break it out when I get special requests. And what we're going to do is we're going to sneak these little silver leaves in. We don't want them to be too much, but we definitely want to see them. Some glue. This stuff wasn't way much at all, so you really just need a little glue. Make sure it's really in there. Good. Sneak it in. We've got like a weird piece. This one's got like a weird piece on it, so I'll probably cut it off and just use the bottom. Sneak. Again, it's kind of, I don't want it to be like right on top. I want to like sneak a little in. Wherever. Yeah. So we're just going to keep adding some of this really pretty silver. And you can do the full piece, you can do the partial pieces. So working our way sort of around the wreath. And just seeing where we need that little bit of pizzazz. I want to add, it's right in back here. A little higher. If it doesn't fit in, that's when you can cut it. So whatever fillers you're adding, I encourage you to break them apart into pieces. Get some smaller parts. This is where I might use some of these little pieces to come in here, like right under a flower, just a little tiny piece sneaking up and in. It's really nice and showing a little more. Can't go wrong with that. Keep grabbing our silver pieces. And adding them in. Just going to make sure we come all the way around. Really add it in evenly. I'm going to sneak this in over here. I think I got it. Yep. And like later, you can always do the shake test on your wreath just to see, is it going to lose anything? Okay, so I want this showing, but not to be the most like overpowering element. So definitely just hiding it in right there in our grapevine. Yeah. I kind of like the idea of the piece showing a little bit more. Let's see. I'm gonna go under. All right, so yeah, right through the grapevine, gluing it on the back. This one went through nice and easy. Add a couple more pieces. Maybe some smaller ones. One more big. This one doesn't want to stay, does it? This one's kind of being picky here. Kind of sneak it on a piece. There we go. So you get one more big one. I think like right in here. Boxwood. You know, the only thing is you have to be careful if you're using high heat hot glue that you're not going to melt some of the plastic on a filler like this. It's kind of what happened a little bit on my other side. So don't go too crazy. You can wire filler in also. Hot glue is easier, so that's probably why I choose it. That's good. On the bottom. Get it right up in here. I think it's caught on a piece of greenery or something. There we go. And then I might use some of these little pieces. So again, I just want to come in and sneak in into some little spots and just add a little pizzazz. If you see a place that just needs maybe to hide a hole, or you just feel like you don't have any of that silver and you want a little more, come in with those little pieces and add that element in. Okay, so now we've added the silver sparkle, which you can see. You can really hang this wreath however you wanted to. And then we're going to pull away any like hot glue strings that you see. Maybe even a stray grapevine piece as well. Sometimes you can thread them back in, but sometimes they go a little rogue. Right. So now we're just going to look for any other spots that just still need some more greenery. Maybe a little bit. So I see. I could just use a little bit of greenery right on the underside here. I just really want to add a ton. Just a little bit. Sneaking it as far as I can, just so it's not so alone right there. So it's just good to play around with the angles. There we go. Yeah, just a little so it's not like totally bare. A little glue. I just feel like we're missing a little tiny bit more greenery back here under this flower. So the hard thing is this flower is kind of in my way. I want to sneak some more greenery in, but this pink flower is not going to make it easy. We're going to do our best. So I'm going to really make sure that I hold it in, push it in and hold it. Make sure it dries, make sure it's connected. Potentially add a little bit so that it connects to the greenery next to it. Really melt the greenery to each other a little bit. Okay, that's cute. All right, so now we've got our wreath. Next thing you want to see, are there any other fillers you want to add? So I've got these little silver bells, so that maybe as the door opens or closes, it's going to get a little jingle jangle. So you have to just kind of be like, where would be a really cute spot for that? I think one could go right there, but I don't want it to be flat against the wreath, so I'm actually going to use a piece of wire so that I can wire it in. Bend that right there. And then I'm going to sneak, hopefully sneak, get through some grapevine somewhere in here. On one side maybe. Or juicy. Might be nearly impossible, and I don't want to break the flowers. Oh, no, I think I have it. So I'm just bending this down. I mean, it's in, but not very far. If that doesn't work, which I don't feel like it's going to, I'm gonna cut this a little bit shorter. And I realize I've still got some ivory flowers I'm going to add in. I'm almost going to use them like a filler. So we'll see what happens with that next. This spot, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't give up on that spot. I'm just going to go stick this somewhere else. So let's come in maybe over on this side with our bell. I think I like that idea better. So I can just kind of glue along my wire, along my bell. And then we're just going to sneak it right in there. And I'm really going to give it something to hang on to. Jingle, jingle it right in there. And do one there. Maybe do one up top. And I'm just going to glue this one directly down. Plenty of stuff for it to hang on to, so I'm not too worried. And then I want to do one down a little farther on my wreath. One's just kind of like a weird blank spot. I just want to fill with something. I kind of like the juxtaposition of that with the pine cone. All right, so now I've got these little white ivory flowers that I do want to add in. So I'm going to sneak in and definitely add one right there. I'm just going to glue these right in because I don't really need a wire. Hold it down for a second, make sure it's on there nice and good. I do think we need one up here somewhere. Down at the bottom. I'm going to sneak this one in too. Get some nice glue there. You don't need a ton, but you want there to be like enough. And then we're going to add one in. Around with where? I think right there. Again, just going to sneak it in. Let that glue catch on the greenery. Hold it down for a second. And then we can play around with any other little pieces. So I'm going to take some pieces of the boxwood and I'm going to sneak them into some little spots that just need, you know, a little something coming in a different direction. A little glue. I feel like you can never stop adding fillers. This seems a little loose. Make sure I get it up there. So again, just breaking apart any little piece here that needs it. Finding a little spot that you might want to let that be. This is just going to bring a little touch of that brighter green to a few spots in the wreath, which is nice. If I didn't already have a spot of the boxwood there. Add some in the back, a little in the front. And again, kind of lift the flower up if you need to. Sneak it in. See if there's any other spots that just have something you need to hide. That's the other thing. Sometimes you just need to hide a wire or something like that too. All right, and then gently pull off any of those hot glue strings. You might find them for days, but in the end, you have your wood flower wreath. So super cute. Any which way you want it. There's your wreath. I should kind of like it like that. So enjoy. That's the easy way to make a wood flower wreath.